Godzilla is a name that generations around the world know of. For almost 70 years, next year in 2024, this kaiju struck terror and joy in the hearts of many. Originally a 1954 horror movie that Americans ruined by thinking the giant monster, which was supposed to symbolize the horrors of nuclear technology and the atomic bomb. So yeah, just imagine a movie where you're supposed to fear the giant unstoppable monster that represents the atomic bomb, but then you go, oh, that's cool, can we get toys of that giant monster and more movies where it fights more giant monsters? Well, the rest is history, and Godzilla is now what we know it is today. Also, speaking of history, have you ever heard of the ancient boomer handheld known as the Game Boy Advance? There was a Godzilla game for it, and it sucks. If you're old like me, you remember the early 2000s where we had Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee on the GameCube. The game was a simple beat-em-up, where you play as a variety of kaiju in different locations and destroy everything around you, from the city to your opponents. It could be played with up to 4 people. It was a simple and fun game for us late 90s and early 2000s kids. So what happens when you want to take that game on the go? Well, you get Godzilla Domination for the GBA. Let's just say back then, you had massive compromises for portable gaming. Kids today have to sacrifice graphics and maybe a bit of frame rate, and that's it. We had to lose so much content and features, and the graphics were even worse, and the controls could be even worse, the frame rate could be worse. Portable gaming back then was so awful, and it was a massive gamble of whether or not you were going to get a good game. And Godzilla Domination is not a good game. The game features single player, which can be played with a story mode, and then there's a versus mode. Then there's a multiplayer mode where you can fight other players if everybody has a Game Boy, and a GBA link cable that can connect all 4 Game Boys. That's a lot of money for a bunch of accessories and games and Game Boys, and then batteries, because back then you had to put batteries in these handhelds. We didn't have rechargeable batteries. Anyways, the campaign, you're just fighting the same few monsters over and over again. Then you face the final boss, who is Mecha King Ghidorah. And then that's it. There's no cinematics, there's no unlockables, there's no replay value, and all the monsters control the same. The other mode you could play was the versus mode, where you get to pick the monsters, you want to set teams, and the location, and that's it. The monster selection is also horrible. You have Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, and Megalon. That's it. Only a few of those are beloved and known by the fans. Cause who the fuck is Megalon? It should have been Gigan. Whatever, this game, also due to its more limited buttons and hardware, features only a few combat moves like jump, punch, kick, move around, and a few combos that are hardly functional. They barely work. You have to mash these button combos multiple times to try to get your character to do a special ability, and they might do the wrong one, and then you have to try to get your special bar up again to use new abilities, like Godzilla's Atomic Breath. The game is clunky and boring and not worth your time. Today, we can emulate Melee, or Save the Earth, or Unleashed on the go, with a Steam Deck, a hacked Nintendo Switch, you name it. Kids today are so lucky, while back then, we had to suffer. Like AVGN famously said in his Godzilla episode, I was born too early, but for this time, it was too early to enjoy good games on the go, without the massive drawbacks of old. I give Godzilla Domination an easy 1 star out of 5 for garbage. I do not recommend this game. you're better off getting a colonoscopy with a porcupine.